legal malpractice and the negligent employment lawyer. Good afternoon. I'm attorney Neil Burns, and I want to talk today a little bit about a case where we represented a young man in the South Shore of Boston area who finished graduate school and needed to have 2 years of supervised work before he could get his full benefits in his career. So he went to a firm and they said sure, and he did his work with them and he was supervised for 2 full years. And at the end of 2 years, he filled out his forms, but they didn't fill out their forms. Something was going on. It went back and forth for some time, and he figured out finally that his supervisor for 2 years was not licensed in Massachusetts. He was licensed in another state, but not licensed in Massachusetts. So he went to a law firm and said, hey, I've got to do 2 more years. I've lost 2 years of increased income. I've lost my prestige in my career. This is terrible. This is really a bad thing career-wise. And they said, we're employment lawyers. We're going to fix this for you. So they wrote a letter to the employer. The employer put them in touch with their law firm. The law firm said, don't worry, we're going to work this out. We know the licensing board. We made the mistake. We'll fix it. But they didn't fix it. And so our client's lawyer didn't really do anything for some time. And our client went about, got his, after 2 years, got his certification and went on and got a job for his full salary and was doing okay, except for the lawsuit. He wanted to know where his 2 years of lost income was going to come from. And he was counting on his lawyers, who he was paying, to do it. So he called them up and called them up and called them up, and they kept asking him things. And finally he said to them, after a few years, he said, look, I got to move on with my life. I don't want to have this lawsuit hanging over my head. Can we please settle it? I'll take 50 cents for the dollar. I'll take 10 cents on the dollar. I just want to get it over with. Now, that was a confidential communication, of course, between the attorney and the client. The attorney can't go to the other side and said, our client's desperate. He needs 10 cents on the dollar. In any event, what they did was they came back to him and said, we're going to get you 30 cents on the dollar. He said, really, is that all? And they settled for 35 cents on the dollar. And 2 weeks later, he got a check. And he asked them, what about my final bill and all that? They said, don't worry about it. We feel so bad that it took so long. We're not going to worry about it. He said, okay, thank you. I didn't get a great result, but I got some money and I'm going to move on with my life. Got married, had kids, bought a house, moved on in his career. And then one day, looking up his own name in Google, he saw that there was a lawsuit and an appeal, and that he had lost the lawsuit and he had lost the appeal, but he knew nothing about any of this, nothing. So he came to us. Actually, he went to an attorney first in New York, and the New York lawyer said, you got to call somebody locally, and he found us, and we represented him. And we found out that it was a whole scam by his own lawyers. His own lawyers scammed him. First, they lost the case. Second, they lost an appeal. Third, they lied to him about it. Fourth, they paid him their own money to get rid of him, to shut him up. They had a clear conflict of interest. This was just a horrible example of what a negligent lawyer can and will and did do. It was horrible. And I went to the law library to get all the paperwork in the middle of COVID, and I found all the documents that we couldn't get because of COVID and all, but I copied them and I reviewed them, and we sent a demand package to the lawyer and the law firm that was representing him previously, and we were able to settle the case in a mediation without filing a lawsuit. And our client was very pleased because we got him full value for his case, for his lost 2 years of earnings, plus the future lost earnings because he had 2 years behind in his career. If you've been a victim of legal malpractice in an employment case, excuse me, or any type of case, give us a call at Burns & Jan. We have experience working with the insurance industry. We have experience in representing victims of legal malpractice. We are aggressive, we're effective, and we care about getting you an excellent result. Give us a call. My partner, Rashawn Jan, and myself, Neil Burns, we're always willing to help. Thank you.